Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Taco, and today we're back with another video, and it's kind of a dead point in the off season right now. So, as I do every year at this point, I am going to be doing my positional rankings. We obviously got to start off with quarterbacks. So yeah, all 32 teams starting QB1s, we're ranking them. The only criteria is simply the ability to help your team win football games. That's the only thing that I care about in this criteria. There's no fantasy anything. There's no blah, blah, blah. That's all that I want. I'm just going off of who I think the starter will be. So, yeah, with that being said, let's get into it. At number 32, I have to go with the Saints and Tyler Shough, a second-round rookie who's 26, kind of, just not a lot of upside here. Derek Carr just retired very, very quickly on you guys, which sucks. But with the Saints, I mean, you're just going to have to work with him. He doesn't have a lot of strengths. He was all right at Louisville. So, yeah, Tyler Shough, he's down here at 32. There's not much I can say about him. At number 31, it's the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy. And look, this is basically a rookie. He had a torn ACL last year. I'm not counting that really as a rookie season. He never got to see the field, never got to really learn. He wasn't really on the sideline until the last game, I think. And he is being put in a perfect situation to succeed. I really hope that he does succeed because the Vikings could do a lot this year if he does. I just don't know. We haven't seen anything from J.J. McCarthy in the pros, and it wasn't like this was some top prospect. He was all right, but he's not all that. We don't know if he's all that yet. That's why he's all the way down here. Basically an unproven rookie. At number 30, I have the Browns and Kenny Pickett. They're listing Kenny Pickett as the starter. I believe they said something like that, but I do think that he's the best QB in that room, at least to start the year out. When you look at Kenny Pickett, he was an all right backup. When he came into the game, he played pretty decently. He did what he needed to do. That is also with a very good team around him. We saw him in Pittsburgh. He was the fourth quarter guy, but he wasn't exactly anything special. I think that that's what Cleveland's going to get. I don't know if he's a guy that's going to exactly lose you games, though, but, I mean, you might go out there and put up 10 points. A Kenny Pickett kind of day. That's why he's down here at 30. At number 29, I have Anthony Richardson for the Colts. Anthony Richardson, I do think that Daniel Jones might get some run at being the starter this year. At least it's going to be a pretty open competition. Anthony Richardson has a lot unproven. He had a very good rookie year, came back. People had pretty high expectations. He just wasn't able to fill them. He's a little bit too much of a gunslinger. Everybody kind of knows that. Yes, he can use his legs really well. Will he be able to use his legs really well? I don't know. That's why I have him down here this low. It just was not a good year last year, and it doesn't feel like something that you can build on going into the next one. At number 28, I have Mason Rudolph. When you look at Mason Rudolph, it's a guy who's not exactly going to lose you football games, and that didn't work last year in Tennessee when the team around you sucks, but I think it might work in Pittsburgh with the defense that Pittsburgh has to win you, 9 games. Classic Mason Rudolph stuff. I don't have Aaron Rodgers on here. He's not signed. I think he's going to retire, honestly. I just think that Mason Rudolph is not like this terrible player. He's never lost games for a team before. He just hasn't won games for teams. And I feel like the 27 guys ahead of him really could some weeks. And that's why I have Mason Rudolph down here at 28. At number 27, I do have the rookie Cam Ward. And Cam Ward had a lot of good things that we remember from his draft process. The anticipation, the accuracy, the arm strength in some cases. He can do a lot of stuff. There was a reason why he was pretty much the only surefire QB in this class. And I think that he could do some stuff for the Tennessee Titans. It's not a great situation. I do think that he will not be a weakness. He'll have rookie struggles. That's what happens when you're a rookie in the NFL. But I think he'll be able to deal with them. I have Cam Ward here at 27. At number 26, I have Justin Fields. When you look at Justin Fields, it was a guy who in Pittsburgh last year played the best football of his career. Turnover free, was still very effective in the run game, was getting it done in the pass game. Mason, Justin Fields was pretty effective in Pittsburgh last year. Obviously, he's going to get the shot to be the full-time starter in New York. Maybe not as good of a situation. I think he'll be able to make it work, though, and that's why I have him here at 26. I don't see something special with him, though, that's going to really put him over the top, but I think that he could do something in New York here at 26. At number 25, I have Russ, right ahead of Justin Fields. Russ for the Giants. It's kind of weird for the Giants to really pick up a veteran guy. I get it. You're drafting Jackson Dart, but then, just let Jameis start or something. Russell Wilson can get the job done, though. We saw him in Pittsburgh until the end of the season. He was playing some pretty solid ball for them, and then it kind of went downhill. That's the truth. But Russ, he still has something in him. We saw, a pretty good season in Denver, statistically at least, the year before that. He can do something here. I don't know if he's special, though. That's why he's here at 25. At number 24, I have Caleb Williams, and there was a lot of ups and downs to Caleb's rookie year. The offensive line was definitely a down. The coaching was definitely a down, and it seems like they fixed that. But still, there were a lot of issues with Caleb. I think that a lot of the sacks were on Caleb Williams. I think that he was just missing guys in some cases that he needs to hit. And so I do hope that it improves for Caleb Williams. I really think it will. I really think that there are a lot of good QBs in this league, and it's just hard to rank him above anybody else that I have above him. I think that we will see some improvement for him, but again, the ability to win games, I don't know how much he can do that at the NFL level. That's why he's here at 24. At number 23, I have Michael Penix, and with Michael Penix for the Falcons, he is a very good player. We saw that at the end of last year. There's a lot of potential. We saw some very good throws, some very, deep down the field plays. He has it in him, but can he do those throws consistently? And then he misses the throws underneath sometimes, and he gets a little too reckless with the ball. There are just things that I hope that he can clean up. If he does clean them up, he can be very special. We saw very special things. I think we're going to get a bit of a mixed bag, but I think that we are going to get a lot of positives out of him. That's why I have him up here at 23. At number 22, I have Drake May, the New England Patriots. Third rookie in a row. I have him as the highest tier because I think that he showed the most flashes as well as the least bad play flashes. He was the most consistent out of the three, I'd say, at just making it work. Pretty underrated with his legs. We saw the arm strength. He's going to get a new weapon in Stephon Diggs. Hopefully that really helps him. And he's able to get his team some points on the board, and that will end up getting his team some wins, hopefully, in 2025. At number 21, I do have Bryce Young. Bryce Young showed a ton of improvement, and I really think that it can stay along. He had a big mechanics issue that it seemed like he started to fix at the end of the year. Canales must have really did something right when he was benched. And so, Bryce Young, he came back. He looked like a completely different quarterback. Hopefully we can see that again. And if we do, it might not be all perfect, but I think he's going to improve again. He gets his receiver one. That's why I have him up here at 21. High expectations for Bryce. Also just because, I love Bryce Young. He's Bryce Young. At number 20, I have Trevor Lawrence. And it wasn't right for the Jags. Kind of anything last year. It all kind of sucked for the Jags. And Trevor Lawrence wasn't really an exception. He had a bad year. He hasn't really had a great year since 22. 23 was all right as well. But we do know what Trevor Lawrence has in him. We know about the arm strength. We know about the intangibles. We know about all the things that we know about him when he was coming out of the draft, and he has not fulfilled that hype. Hopefully he does. He did look like a really good quarterback a few years ago, just kind of went downhill, but he's getting his receivers, getting a very good situation, it seems, next year with Liam Cohen. Let's see if he can work with it. That's why he's here at 20. At number 19, I have Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy played a lot what I expected Brock Purdy to play without his weapons. I don't really think he took that much of a regression. I think his weapons took a regression. And that just kind of showed with his play. It wasn't great. Now, they gave him the huge extension. They really believe in him, which I think is good for a quarterback to have that stability with him. But I don't exactly know if Purdy is a ceiling raiser. I think he's a great game manager, and that's where this puts you at number 19. Pretty good game manager that does need to fix up some stuff though. But he could definitely still be something even without the crazy weapons that he used to have in San Fran. At number 18, I have Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray had a great start to the season last year, and it kind of just fell off. I think the Cards were 6-4 at one point, and lost, I guess, 6 games in a row because they won the last game of the year. Maybe they were 8-9. Whatever it was, Kyler, he shows stuff. He shows a lot of good stuff, and then he wants it to come together and for the Cardinals to be like a playoff team, and it just doesn't happen. And it's kind of annoying with the Cardinals because you know that he has it in him, and I feel like he can get it expressed this year a little bit more. Marv going into his next year, Trey McBride going into his next year. You can tell he's trying a lot. It just hasn't exactly been working, but we know who Kyler is as a player. I think that he will be able to get it done for hopefully a little bit longer next year. And I mean, he can be a very great player. At number 17, I have Sam Darnold. And when you look at Sam Darnold, last year, it was a year where not many people, expected anything out of Sam Darnold. I had him at like 26, and everybody was mad at how high I had him. And so you were wrong. I was wrong too. But like Sam Darnold, he had the amazing year. Goes to Seattle. I don't think he'll have the year that he had, just simply the lack of scheme and the lack of offensive line, which we found is the thing that hurt Sam Darnold so much, even though we kind of knew that was what Sam Darnold struggled with so much before this year, and I don't get why the people didn't run it against him. But I believe that Sam Darnold, he will still have a decent year. We'll find somewhere in the middle with him, and if people play to his strengths, he can be a pretty special player in the league. But I think he'll be an all right starting quarterback. He's up here at 17. At number 16, I have Bo Nix. Bo Nix had an amazing rookie year last year for a team that not a lot of people expected to do anything. I think I had him as my worst-ranked quarterback going into that year, which, he was a second or third round QB prospect that ended up getting picked that high. It was understandable. Most people had him last. But he really showed up. The Sean Payton offense definitely helps him, but he is able to make plays too, and Bo Nix is a pretty solid QB. That's why he's up here at 16. At number 15, you have Geno Smith. Going to the Raiders, I think it's a bit of a downgrade for the Seahawks. I think the Raiders got a great QB here. He's just a yards machine. He can throw almost anywhere on the field. Yes, he has his problems in the red zone. Yes, he has his problems with turnovers, but he does get it done. He's a pretty solid QB. I think he's going to continue that. We see he had the great year in 22, but he kind of went down, and then I think he's kind of climbing back up. I think that Geno Smith is going to have a pretty good year, especially reuniting with Pete Carroll, where he had that breakout year. That's why I have him up here at 15. I think he is a very solid QB. At number 14, I have Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott had an amazing 2023. In 2024, he kind of stunk, and then he got hurt, and we're kind of getting him back again. Now, the Cowboys' offense was just a little bit, broken in general because they didn't have a guy besides CeeDee Lamb. Rico Dowdle somehow ended up with all these yards. It just wasn't a very good offense, and you're definitely getting some improvements, which is going to help with Dallas. I don't know how much it is going to help, though. But Dak Prescott, he still is going to be able to make it work. I think that he's still a pretty good QB. Maybe not someone you can win a Super Bowl with, but someone that's going to play some pretty solid QB for you. That's why he's here at 14. At number 13, I have C.J. Stroud. Now, C.J. Stroud had a sophomore slump. He had the great rookie year. I said he was going to win MVP this year, and he didn't do that. Now, his weapons got hurt. His offensive line stunk, which didn't improve, sadly. There was the one place you need to improve, and you traded your best guy there, which didn't make any sense. But yeah, so with the Texans, with CJ, I hope it does work. I think he'll find somewhere where he's not that kind of yards merchant, that TD to interception merchant. He'll have good stats. He won't have those kind of stats, but he'll have some pretty good production here at 30. At number 12, we have With Tua, I mean, we got to start giving Tua some flowers. He led the league in yards in 2023, and people want to talk about how it's all Mike McDaniel and Tyreek Hill and all this stuff. But every year, when Tua's hurt, everybody behind him loses a bunch of games, even to bad teams, and then Tua will come back and they'll start winning games again. And like this year, they're a game or two short of the playoffs because they lost all these games with Tyler Huntley in there. They lost to the Titans. Tua needs his flowers. He makes good throws, good anticipation. He fits Mike McDaniel's scheme perfectly, and that's why he's up here at 12. He did lead the league in yards 2 years ago. He's still a very good QB. Had some issues last year. I think he's going to get back on track up here at number 12. At number 11, I have Matt Stafford. And maybe this is low for some people, but Matthew Stafford, he didn't have a great year early in the year. And we know that this is a guy that we believe he turns it up in the playoffs, even though we only saw it one playoff run. And I guess this year he played pretty decently. But Matthew Stafford, he does make some plays. I can give him that. He is still a very good quarterback. He is still here at number 11 in a league with a lot of good quarterbacks. But I don't think he's in this top 8, top 7 range that some people have him because he doesn't put up those kind of numbers, and it doesn't feel like he has that kind of impact, especially with some great weapons around him, but still very good, still here at number 11. At number 10, I ended up going with Jordan Love. I have him sneaking into the top 10, and it's back-to-back years, and it might just be a thing where he starts off the year, he throws a bunch of interceptions, it just didn't look good. He had the injury. He was kind of out of sync. And then late in the year, he started firing. Everything looked pretty good. They were playing, those NFC North teams were really the only teams they lost to. And they played them very competitively. Like, this was a very good Packers team led by Jordan Love. He was making very good plays. That's why I have him up here at 10. I still think that he's a very solid quarterback. At number 9, I have Jared Goff. And Jared Goff consistently just puts up a ton of stats. And it's not all just the Detroit Lions and Ben Johnson because they run the ball so much too. Jared Goff has some amazing plays. He makes any throw that you need him to. He is a perfect game manager. He is a perfect Brock Purdy. He is a perfect guy to just get the ball where he needs to get it, when he needs to get it. Yes, he had some turnovers. Half of them came in one game. And he is still asked sometimes to make challenging throws. And he can make them. And he can win you games. Maybe not playoff games as we saw this year. But he can win you football games. He's very good. And the ability to help your team win, Jared Goff does that. Number 9. And number 8, I have Justin Herbert. And the thing with Justin Herbert is, well, the playoffs. He has issues in the playoffs. Regular season, played some great ball, some turnover-free ball. He did his job. But come the playoffs, he's stunk 2 years in a row. He threw more picks in the playoffs than the regular season. I like good playoff success out of my QBs, Jalen Hurts. But I think that Justin Herbert is still a very good QB. I really hope that he does put it together in the playoffs, but he just hasn't been able to yet. And the ability to help your teams win games, it's just winning means winning when it's important, and he isn't able to do that. But you have seen some great winning in the regular season. That's why he is up here at number 8. At number 7, I have Baker Mayfield. What a stud. 40 touchdowns last year. Yeah, Liam Cohen. Ooh, this great guy. What's saying Liam Cohen's so great? Maybe Baker Mayfield's just a dog. He didn't have Mike Evans. He didn't have Chris Godwin. Now the issue is, he went into the playoffs. He didn't play a great game. They lost, okay? He also, he has a turnover problem. I think he's led the league in picks. He led it last year and then like the 2 years combined kind of thing. But Baker Mayfield still makes some great throws. He makes important throws. He does what he needs to do. He's a franchise QB. He's a QB that can win you a Super Bowl, and that's why he's up here at number 7. At number 6, I have Jaden Daniels. What a rookie year from a guy who now is like, every team in the Eagles division just kind of stunk except for the Cowboys. And now the Commies are like really good. And it's pretty annoying because guy Jane Daniels, with the Cowboys, they always just lost in the playoffs. Jane Daniels gets it done in the playoffs, and that is what is so important about him. He seems so calm and collective in the moments. He makes every play he needed to. Now, come the NFC Championship, it was a little bit of a different story, but everything was messed up in that game. The Eagles played that well. What can I say? Jane Daniels up here at number 6. At number 5, I do have Jalen Hurts. Now, Jalen Hurts, first off, he won a Super Bowl. He played his best games in the most important moments, and he doesn't have the stats. Yeah, but I think he sacrificed the stats a little for wins. He knows, hey, you run the ball to Saquon Barkley as many times as you physically can because that's Saquon Barkley. What else are you supposed to do? His team wins games. He puts them in the position to win games. He helps his team win. When the team had to get put on his back in previous years when they didn't have a Saquon in the run game, he was able to get it done. Now he has that, but that shouldn't detract from who Jalen Hurts is. And Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback, and he gets the job done. He didn't turn the ball over. He did what he needed to for the Eagles to win, and for the Eagles to win a Super Bowl. At number 4, I have Joe Burrow. Now, Joe Burrow, the problem is he hasn't made the playoffs the last 2 years. Now, last year, or 23, was because of the injury. Last year, he played a great year. His defense couldn't get it together. But also, Burrow wasn't able to close out close games. Yeah, the defense allowed 35, but sometimes when you score 34, you got to be able to put up 37. But still, Joe Burrow had an incredible year. And I mean the 34 to 37 thing is like, you got to be clutch. When it matters, you got to be clutch. Okay, but Joe Burrow, he's gotten it done before in the playoffs. We do know that, the whole Joe Shiesty thing. But has he been able to do it recently? No. That's the only thing that's keeping him out of this top 3, as well as there are just 3 QBs that are insane in this league. And Burrow is in that tier. He's just not these top 3 guys. At number 3, I have Josh Allen. We all know Josh Allen, the running ability, the passing ability, the ability to get it done. And in the playoffs, he has not been able to get it done against the important person, as I would call him, Patrick Mahomes, and the important team in the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's been an issue that's got to get fixed simply. But he still makes amazing plays. He still does what he needs to do. He shares a birthday with me, I learned. And yeah, he's a dog. Okay, that's why he's up here at number 3. At number 2, completely robbed of the MVP, Lamar Jackson. And yes, I mean that because this was the most efficient season that we've seen from a QB ever. And it was one of the best seasons in the regular season that we have seen from QB ever. I mean that. 40 touchdowns. He's got 4 picks. 1 was his fault on the entire year. He has almost 1,000 rushing yards. Yeah, he has an RB that opens it up and stuff. But also with that RB, he's not taking all these shots every game. And he's getting it done. He played amazing last year. I think he was robbed of the MVP. Now, when it comes to the playoffs, that's the issue. He hasn't been able to get it done in the playoffs, and I don't think you can really blame it on the Buffalo loss, on him exactly. Yeah, he had some turnovers, but I think more of the past years is what kind of goes into that. But Lamar's amazing. He's up here at number 2. And number 1, in my opinion, is still Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, all this stuff happened. Ooh, he didn't have these stats. He's just kind of dunking the ball down the field. He's doing what the defense wants him to do. And I think that we're going to get a little bit more of the deep shots this year just because we saw what has beaten this scheme, which is people finally start coming down and hitting them. But I think that Mahomes is still an amazing player. Still a guy that just wins all the time. He gets it done all the time. He wins. And what's going to stop him from winning? I think he kind of took the Jalen Hurts approach where he let his defense win games. And he's kind of out of it until there's 3 minutes left and he clutches up again. He's an amazing QB. He's still number 1 in my book because stats don't mean everything. Winning means that ability to help your team win. That's what the rubric was. and that's what Patrick Mahomes does. That's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.